So I'm going to be showing you guys my vacation. I made you guys a little presentation to be able to tell you guys about my trip, and I'm gonna call this like the Vegas recap. I used to love doing PowerPoints when I was a kid in school, so I thought to myself, you know what, why don't I just do a PowerPoint for the chat? You know, it'd be like a presentation for the class, right? Here is my PowerPoint, chat. Why was I in Vegas? Around this time of the year, I celebrate my 2-year anniversary, or my anniversary with Faith. Faith is my girlfriend. We've been together for 2 years. We decided to go to Vegas this year. We had a timeshare that we could use. It's not ours, but somebody kindly lent us a timeshare, and we only had this time period to be able to fully use it. I had a couple things that I wanted to do. 5 things in particular. I wanted to eat good food. I wanted to watch good shows, because Vegas has a ton of amazing shows. I wanted to gambu. I wanted to keep Faith happy. And of course, I wanted to collect naked lady cards. If you guys don't know what these are, if you've never been to Vegas, there's a whole bunch of people handing out strip club cards, advertising their strip clubs and their adult-oriented shows. So far, I had 2 of them. One with a big butt and one with a nice side shot. Tuesday was the day that we left for Vegas on an aeroplane. We stayed at a place called the Club des Soleil. What is that? It's a timeshare place where you can get like a 1-bedroom. At that point, when we got to the hotel, we were very hungry. And this is one of the reasons why we like to go to Vegas, because Vegas has a ton of great restaurants. We were looking outside the strip because you'd be surprised the amount of amazing food places you can get in Vegas outside the strip. So we decided to go to Shabuya. Shabuya is a shabu shabu place. If you don't know what shabu shabu is, basically a place where you get to have a bowl of boiling broth. You dip your meats, you dip vegetables, you dip a whole bunch of stuff. It's like hot pot pretty much. But you get your own individual little pot thing, and they had a plethora and array of different things. This place was massive, and it was really, really cool. In Vegas, this particular place was probably the best place that I have been to eat shabu. Mostly because the broths were delicious, the meats were thinly sliced, and also delicious. So I will 100% say that this is my favorite shabu place. You can also get alcohol. If you don't know what this is what's called a Capri Soju. If you don't know what a soju is, it is a Korean alcoholic drink. When you sip on it, you taste no alcohol. You only taste delicious sweetness. That's dangerous. That is very, very dangerous, because you can be like a couple sips and you're like, oh, this is actually freaking delicious, and not remember you drinking the rest of the soju. It's great. It's dangerous. So be careful when you drink soju. So anyway, she drank this whole thing and she was definitely very tipsy. It was really funny. So we ate, we had a good time. There was like fresh curry there that they made for us. It was so freaking good. And at the end of the whole thing, we decided, you know what? It's time to call it quits. We were very fat. That's me, and that's Faith. So we decided, you know what? We feel terrible because we don't have a car. We took an Uber, and we're like, you know what? Let's walk a bit. Let's walk it off. We found out that we have a place that we love to go to while we're in Vegas called Honey Sweet Dessert. This place was like a mile away. So we're like, let's just walk over there. So we walked in like 98-degree weather. It wasn't terrible. If you are ever in Vegas, go to Sweet Honey Dessert, because they have one thing that will change your life if you've never had it before. Because I know it changed my life. They had jiggly pancakes. If you don't know what jiggly pancakes are, they are a dessert where you use a lot of egg whites to be able to make this batter, this fluffy batter. And once you do that, you can grill it, so you can make a pancake that's so fluffy and so jiggly that it almost tastes like a cloud. And then you of course dress it up with whatever. I had the strawberry jiggly pancake, and Faith had the matcha jiggly pancake, which came with like a matcha ice cream, and it was so amazing. And they make it fresh. So they don't do a to-go jiggly pancake. They only do it on site. I was in heaven when I ate this. It tasted like pure heaven. It was so amazing. Just listen to this. Listen. Just I'm not listen. Just look at this. Look at it. Do you see that? Look at how jiggly it is. Look at it dance. I think I found something that dances better than Shakira, and it's this right here, this thing right here. And you don't even need to pay hundreds of dollars to enter or to see this thing in concert, right? It's insane. Wednesday, aka Hump Day. Wednesday we had a couple of things to do. One thing in particular, and we're gonna get into that in just a second. Wednesday we realized that there was something wrong. We were in the hotel room, and in the hotel room there's of course AC. Now at this time, it was close to 100 degrees. And the hotel room only went down to 70 degrees. It is an old school hotel room. This place has been around for a long time. And if you don't know me, I'm a polar bear. I need to sleep in a cold room to be able to sleep well. It's just how I operate. So Faith activated her hacker man abilities. She became freaking, what's her name? Sombra from Overwatch, whatever her name is, starts hacking the freaking AC. I'm not even kidding you. She spent close to 2 hours hacking this freaking AC unit because apparently everybody knows how to hack an AC unit in this day and age because they tell you, they have tutorials on TikTok. And it took her 2 hours, but she got it. We were able to enjoy our hotel room at a whopping 54 degrees. We didn't keep it at 54 degrees. That's just how low it went down, right? We kept it at 65. So we enjoyed our cold hotel room, and we also enjoyed a lot of Family Feud. Now, I mentioned that this place has cable TV, and in that cable TV, there is a channel called the Game Show Channel. I didn't know this thing existed. It's a channel where they played non-stop game shows, which includes Family Feud. So Family Feud was playing non-stop. It was sick. I was just guessing things. I was loving it, dude. I felt like a 55-year-old man in a retirement home. It was sick, dude. The thing is, this shit was on like the smallest TV you could ever think of. I'm talking, have you guys ever been to a doctor's office and they have the freaking thing rigged up to the corner of the room, way up high, and the thing is like 20 inches? Well, that's how freaking big this thing was. And they hung it up on this big ass wall so it looked like a literal bug. That's fine though. We were able to make it work. The only thing that made me laugh was the fact that the TV was set up so it was like pointing not downwards, like the top is not angled downwards because, you know, it's very high up. It was actually angled upwards, so it was kind of like facing the roof. I don't understand, you know, I don't know, Vegas people, they might be a little special, so I don't know. We were getting ready for an event that was there that day to our reservations to a specific restaurant called the Bacchanal Buffet. What is the Bacchanal Buffet, chat? Let me tell you what the Bacchanal Buffet is. The Bacchanal Buffet is a buffet. I think it was deemed the best buffet in Vegas. It's been years since I entered this place. This place is close to freaking $80 a person. And this place has a lot of stuff. They have seafood out the wazoo, Asian food, a dessert table that will satisfy any sort of sweet tooth. You have meats, you have all sorts of pastas. Yeah, like a specific pasta station. There's so much to eat at this Bacchanal Buffet. It was so freaking good. It was at the Little Caesars Palace. We went to Little Caesars Palace and we ate at the Bacchanal Buffet. And it was, I think, worth it. We ate like kings, but it was expensive. Look at this freaking food. Had prime rib, we had meat chip, delicious golden brown potatoes. You had bone marrow with lobster mac and cheese. Then you had all sorts of delicious things like delicious fries and all sorts of different things. And we ate like, I guess like emperors. Yeah, I guess so. Dude, the crab legs, that's where I made my money. This is how I run these bitches dry, by eating a ton of crab legs. And I ate a lot of crab because they are so good. But I ate so much of this stuff, dude. It was delicious. So we stuffed ourselves to the brim. It was awesome. And then we had dessert, and the dessert was out of this world. They had pineapple upside down cake. They had like a fruity pebble panna cotta. They had strawberry shortcake. They had a delicious banana Foster pudding that was to die for. And I had this new thing that was down here. This is an egg tart. Boy, that was the most amazing dessert I've ever had. They also had this cake that was really yummy. It was a pride cake because it's Pride Month. And it was so vibrant and colorful. It's kind of hard to get colors down right on cake. So I was very impressed. And it was really delicious and really nice. The freaking egg tart was out of this world, dude. We loved it. We had a great time. The Bacchanal Buffet was probably one of my favorite like buffets I've ever had in like ever. If you are willing to spend 80 bucks a person for dinner, then I would highly suggest going to the Bacchanal buffet. We were stuffed. We were stuffed. That's us. Again, we decided to once again walk it off. Luckily, Little Caesar's Palace is home to a big old mall that has a lot of retail stores and has a lot of stuff to see. So you can walk around this crazy mall and you can see a whole bunch of stuff. They got all sorts of different malls. Look at all the different malls. We went to like Tiffany's and stuff. And while we were over there, we saw a statue that I will never forget. We saw David's statue. That's art. And I actually that's art. It's art. Stop. You can't ban art. Stop. So anyways, we gambooed after that. We walked it off. We also gambooed a lot. And we made some money. I didn't. I lost it all. Wasn't a good day. Thursday. We had a couple things on Thursday, actually. Oh, Thursday was a big day, actually. That was our first show was on Thursday. We had tickets to see O. And O is a Cirque du Soleil show that is amazing. Now, I went to O way back in the day when I was a kid. Back in 2011, 2010. Close to that time period with my grandparents. So this is an amazing show. And the reason why it's so amazing, I'll tell you in a little bit. They are able to incorporate a stage that can turn into a stage and from a water tank, like a pool, to a stage in like close to like a second. So anyways, we didn't really have anything at the beginning of the day. We were just mostly waiting for O, and then we decided to do something that I wanted to do for a long time, which was visit Gordon Ramsay's restaurants. And the first one we did was Gordon Ramsay Burger. Now, when we wanted to, this was in Planet Hollywood. Planet Hollywood is where Gordon Ramsay Burger is. And when we were trying to make reservations to Gordon Ramsay Burger, we couldn't. Because Gordon Ramsay Burger apparently was like booked out and we couldn't make reservations for like months till like August or something like that. It was insane. We found out that might more than likely have been the app itself wasn't working at that time. All we had to do was go to Planet Hollywood and show up. That's it. That's all that happened. We showed up and it was a 15-minute wait. So we were able to essentially get into Gordon Ramsay Burger. We were able to sit down and have a good ass time. This is the restaurant. It had an amazing freaking fiery logo type thing. Gordon Ramsay's face is freaking everywhere. But I've seen a lot of Gordon Ramsay videos and I really wanted to see, his restaurants and see like what kind of food that they made in the restaurant. We had this appetizer, which was simply to die for. It was a corn dip with like tahini and salt and cheese, all sorts of different spices in this freaking dip that you see on the left with these delicious tortilla chips. Dude, Faith went to town. I'll tell you this right now. Faith's a lot more picky with food than I am. And she loved this shit. Like so much. And it was so freaking good. I'm not a huge fan of corn. I only like elote stuff. Then we had like white truffle fries, which they had like homemade ketchup, and they had like a white truffle aioli with like a delicious freaking like garlic ranch on the side too. So we had like the tater tots. We had all sorts of stuff. Faith got the ultimate cheeseburger, which is what you see up there. And I got something that was just... I got the white truffle burger, and it was the most amazing burger I think I have ever had. And this one was to die for. The bun toasted to perfection. They had this slaw, this salad that was like a red wine, tossed in red wine sauce, and it was light. It wasn't a lot of like the salad, but inside was bacon, delicious cheese, and a fried egg, and of course a patty that's to die for. This thing was the most perfect burger I have ever. Look at that shit. Look at it. Look at it. Oh my God, it was so freaking good. I put it in my mouth and I was sad because I knew eventually this burger was gonna die. This thing was like a pet. It was so good. I had a good time. So good that I basically gambooed some more. It was time to see O. So we hauled it out of Planet Hollywood to go to the Bellagio, which is where the show was. We started walking to walk off the burger. And then we noticed that one of the most popular, most extravagant stores, Hermes, was at the Bellagio, which if you guys don't know, that's my name. My name is Hermes or Hermes, whatever, however you want to say it. We showed up at the Cirque du Soleil area so we can get in. They had a whole ton of different statues from the show. Apparently it's made by a really popular sculptor. All these statues, by the way, are for sale. So anyways, we went there. We sat at a magnificent place. I got to give it up to Faith. Faith did amazing. She got amazing seats. We were right front and center. Boy, I was really happy with the seats that we got. I'm just telling you right now. We watched the show, and it was, of course, nothing short of amazing. Probably the most amazing show in Vegas right now. Definitely the best Cirque du Soleil show in Vegas. That's for damn sure. Whether or not it's the best show in Vegas is subjective, but I think it is because they have the ability to change from a pool to an actual stage, and it can go as deep as possible. They even have like divers from the very top of the auditorium dive down into this pool. So this thing can go down freaking deep. And while at the same time, they can all stand and let there not be any water whatsoever. If you're ever in Vegas and you want to see a good show, watch O. So we watched the show and we gambled some more. Friday was really fun actually, because Friday was a rest day. This is the day that we get to relax. We don't need to stay out too long because every night we've been there, we stayed out for a while gambling. The Friday was a rest day. There was one specific thing that we were doing. So until then, all we did was watch Family Feud. Lots of Family Feud. God, that was so sick. If I could actually have that channel 24/7 running in my bedroom, I'd probably never come out. Enter in the second Gordon Ramsay restaurant. Gordon Ramsay Pub and Grill. This one, it was at Little Caesars Palace as well. So it was right in front of like a whole bunch of different machines and such. But this place was awesome, dude. There was so much cool like things that I guess was supposed to resemble like an actual UK pub. So we went to go to our seats. They sat us down. We had reservations. They sat us down. But I love the chairs. Look at the chairs, dude. It's like a throne. It was one of the most comfortable chairs I've ever had to sit on. So we looked at the menu, and the menu was phenomenal as well. The menu had a lot of stuff. Very fancy schmancy, by the way. You had a bunch of things like tiki masala. You had scallops. You had prime rib. You had beef Wellington, his famous beef Wellington. You had all sorts of different things here that you could choose from, but they had this in particular, which was the 3-course meal. And the 3-course meal was something that we wanted to do. Faith and I wanted to do a 3-course meal because it made sense. For $80, which we got dessert, we had the beef Wellington, a choice between a Caesar salad and an French onion soup. And the beef Wellington already was $70. The sticky toffee pudding, which was the dessert, was $15, and the French onion soup was close to like $17. So we saved a little bit of money, but I did add to it. We also got a lobster mac and cheese, and we got an antipasto, right? It was out of this world, chat. Let me tell you something. This dude knows what he's talking about. Bone marrow antipasto. Yes. If you don't know what antipasto is, it's like a Italian way of saying it's like the first course of an Italian dish or Italian dinner where you eat like crackers, cheese, meats, olives, fruits, all sorts of stuff like that. But here they had delicious cured meats as well as a really, really nice cheese and toast. But they also had bone marrow, which was amazing, dude. I had the bone marrow. And by the way, Faith doesn't like bone marrow. Like I said, she's picky. So I had this whole thing to myself. It was so freaking good. Then we had the beef Wellington. I've never had beef Wellington in my life. I've always seen it on Hell's Kitchen and on Gordon Ramsay shows, never actually had it. And I'm going to tell you this right now, my life has changed. This started me on a path that I didn't think I was going to freaking go on. This was one of the most amazing dishes ever. If you don't know what beef Wellington is, it's basically a delicious meat that's cooked to perfection. It's layered with like mushrooms and then also battered and cooked perfectly. They wrap it in a pastry and they cook it to perfection. They have some delicious mashed potatoes with some asparagus and carrots. I bit into this thing and my world changed, dude. Oh, and I also got the lobster mac and cheese. And I'm going to tell you that right now, that's probably one of the greatest mac and cheeses I've ever had in my life. And if you guys don't know me, I'm a freaking mac and cheese connoisseur, all right? I've been eating mac and cheese for as long as I've been breathing. And that lobster mac and cheese was so good because it was super cheesy, super saucy, not clumpy, and not too sweet. Because certain lobster mac and cheeses are really sweet because of the lobster, and they mix in the cheese sauce with the lobster, which makes it very sweet. This was perfect. It was divine. One of the greatest things I've ever eaten in my life, hands down. And then something happened. After the beef Wellington, my life changed. At this point, I have thought to myself, why does the UK exist in the food world? Why are there so many awful cooks that come from the UK? My views have been permanently scarred by people like her and people like him, and definitely people like this guy. But Gordon Ramsay, you beautiful son of a bitch. I don't know how this happened, but they came out with the sticky toffee pudding. I've never in my life had sticky toffee pudding, and it changed my life. I was in pure, blissful heaven. Look at that. I had to take a few seconds to realize what I just put in my mouth. That's how much I took it seriously. There was a fresh vanilla ice cream on top with a caramel cream sauce. Underneath, a delicious, perfectly well-made sticky toffee pudding. It was cakey, it was sweet, but not too sweet, and just... At that point, UK, English people, Britain, I will never doubt you again. The beef Wellington was amazing, life-changing, but this altered my views on the UK in general. I thought Gordon Ramsay, after seeing that grilled cheese video and after seeing the ramen video, I thought the same thing was with Gordon Ramsay. But finally, after eating at his burger joint and eating at his pub and grill, that dude knows what he's talking about. I had no doubt in my mind that he knew what he was talking about. But sometimes it's kind of like hard to believe until you actually have eaten his food. This sticky toffee pudding, the reason why it was so life-altering was because I put this UK dessert up against the Japanese style jiggly pudding. I'm sorry, the jiggly pancakes that we had earlier, and I prefer the sticky toffee pudding. With that being said, this was by far my favorite restaurant of this trip. I will go here 100 times over just to eat the sticky toffee pudding. After that, we were just super happy, so we went to rest. And we went to go actually... No, we went to gamble. And after that, we went to rest and we watched Family Feud. Saturday was great. It was jam-packed and filled with stuff. We started the day off with going to the Mob Museum. And if you guys didn't know this, yeah, there is a Mob Museum in Las Vegas near Fremont, which tells the story on how the mob was born in the United States. It told the story of gangsters, the mob, how they came to fruition, how they were formed, because it was mostly during the Prohibition, all the different figureheads that were around during that time and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. I would highly suggest you guys going to the Mob Museum whenever you guys can. There was a lot of things to do. There was like 3 floors worth of stuff. They also had like activities that you can do. Like, for example, like crime scene labs activities that you guys can go into and learn about the autopsies and the forensic stuff. They also have the actual wall that was there during the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. That's the actual wall for the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. If you guys don't know what that is, that's just a piece of American history. It was like a big, huge thing that basically sparked the end of Prohibition. So anyways, they also had Al Capone's gun there, which was insane. That's the actual gun of Al Capone. Isn't that sick? It was a good time. If you guys ever are interested, I suggest going to the Mob Museum for sure. After that, we walked around and we went to Fremont, which was near the Mob Museum. So we walked around. It was a pretty nice day. Went past like the Heart Attack Grill. We went past a couple of different places, but we ended up doing some Fremont stuff. Like, for example, we went to gamble. We gambled again, and we gambled at the El Cortez. And the El Cortez Hotel was an old school hotel. They had those coin slots, which you don't really see too often, especially on the strip, where you like can put in coins and you hear like the coin cha-chinging, you know, cha-ching, 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 and stuff like that. And they start falling down and they make that nostalgic, you know, coin noise. So it was pretty cool to visit that place. Either way, after the El Cortez, after we finished gambling and stuff like that, we had to go eat because we were very, very hungry. So we ended up going to the D Hotel. I know. The D Hotel is not necessarily the freaking family friendliest of names, but it was right next to Fremont, and we were going there for a specific purpose, and that was to go play digital blackjack. I'm just kidding, by the way. It's not because they had digital blackjack. It was because they had this steakhouse. This steakhouse in particular was where we were mostly going to. This steakhouse was the place that I've been wanting to go to for a while because they were known for their steak, and this was our official 2-year anniversary day. That Saturday was the day where it struck 2 years. So that was our 2-year anniversary dinner. So they were very well known for their tomahawk steak. So I really wanted to try and have their tomahawk steak. And that's exactly what we did. And it was $150. We ended up getting it. She ended up getting like a really nice sausage red sauce pasta. And I got the tomahawk steak. Look at how big this thing is. Woo! Boy, dude, this steak was so freaking, it was 32 ounces. And I'm going to tell you right now that it was heavenly. This is like a butter that they put on the bottom so you can like kind of like scoop out everything. And once you cut this thing open, it's like the juices for the steak like flow out, but not too much because it was properly rested. It mixed with the butter and it was so freaking good. And I also had it with white truffle mashed potatoes, which was amazing. The service there was phenomenal. We started eating. We had a great time. One thing's for sure that I will never forget going to this restaurant is right behind us, literally right behind us, someone was choking. So there was a woman that was choking, and the husband was screaming off the top of his lungs, someone help, she's choking, etc., etc. And then when I looked around, there was already a bunch of waiters right behind me because there was a scene, and somebody fortunately came up and started giving the Heimlich. While when I turned around, this was all, it all happened super fast, and ended up working out. She started breathing again. They had like a official hotel kind of like paramedic type of person come in and kind of like investigate and see what happened, if it was because of food, if she's okay. Yeah, it was crazy, dude. While I was eating a so you better bet your sweet ass that I was chewing real well. That didn't ruin our meal or anything like that. It was just like an interesting experience. So that was my interesting kind of like weird experience, and so was Faith's. But Faith had an even worse thing done to her. Weirdly enough, that's not the worst thing that has happened to Faith that day. There was this machine. It was a crane machine, $5. And if you get one of the balls that had 3,000, 5,000, and she spent, I don't know how much money, but every single time she grabbed the ball, and you can tell 100% that the shit is rigged. She was hella upset. And I'm like, what about the lady that was choking? It's like, she's fine. Dude, the crane though. It was really funny. She was like going off on this crane machine all night long. It was hilarious. After eating dinner, after eating all that stuff, guess what we did, chat? Say it with me. We went to Gambu. And I wasn't lying about the digital blackjack. This was my favorite mix. The reason why I like the digital blackjacks is because their minimums are much lower than the tables. I played digital blackjack for like an hour and a half. And the reason why we were playing for so long was because we had to get to a show. The second show of the trip was RuPaul's Drag Race Live. That's right. I went to my first official drag show. I didn't know that who RuPaul was. I didn't know that there was a huge existence for this sort of thing. I always knew about drag queens and stuff, right? Because one of my favorite movies of all time is called The Birdcage. If you guys have never seen Birdcage, it's Robin Williams and I can't remember his name. It's the voice actor for Timon. That movie was hilarious. So I knew about drag queens, but I didn't know that there was like a huge existence. My sister, my mother, Faith especially, love RuPaul's Drag Race. RuPaul's Drag Race has been a thing for years, since like 2008, 2009, around there. And it's like a huge presence. So we went to RuPaul's Drag Race Live at the Flamingo, and it was a really good time. This stage was crazy. It was super cool. You got screens everywhere, and you got all sorts of people, right? We sat to a very nice couple as well that Faith was talking to a lot. I was just trying to take it all in, because you guys got to realize I come from a background that doesn't really emphasize too much on this stuff, right? So it was like a big like eye-opening experience for me. It was really fun. Like stuff like this was just like all over the place. Like you got like RuPaul going crazy. You got dudes shaking their asses. You got dongs flying up and down, and I'm just mesmerized the entire time. But we had some really, really good seats. Everyone in that audience have seen the show, and there was only like 2, maybe 3 people that haven't seen the show. I know this because the host for the show had people raise their hands if they've never seen RuPaul. Now, here's the thing. People were like, oh, even though I have never seen the show, I'm not gonna raise my hands. Well, this audience was built a little different. Even though the people that have never seen the show, there were other people just like me and their significant others or their gay friends pointing them out. And I could count 2 or 3. And I was one of them because Faith was doing the same shit to me. She was just doing this the entire time. And I counted 3 people that has never seen the show. And then they said, who here is straight? And there was a count of 4 people, and I'm one of those. Because the same thing happened. Their gay friends or their significant others were pointing them out because the drag queen that was the host was trying to single out the straight people in the audience. Faith is just trying her absolute damnedest to get me to get seen by this host, and it was really funny. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. We had great seats. I mean, look at these seats, right? Like, it was a small theater, but it was like this like really cool style where it was like a diner, and we had a good time. It was about an hour and a half, so it was super entertaining. Because if you guys have never seen a drag show, it's basically a show where men dress up as crazy, flamboyant, super like vibrant women. So like they go balls deep, quite literally, into like the aesthetic. So they go with crazy wigs, crazy dresses, crazy performances, and crazy sets. It's really a good time. But I'll tell you, and I'll be very, very honest right now, I was not as entertained as I was at the actual dancing and the lip syncing, because it was basically them lip syncing. The best part of these shows was when they weren't doing that. Meaning that there was parts in between each performance that the host came out and just started saying crazy shit. It's like, hey sluts, how you doing? And then they would start talking to them and start saying like some crazy like jokes. And I was having a blast, dude. Those drag queens are hilarious, dude. Because she was like, I have this box for you. It's filled with white stuff that I did with Ramon earlier. And Ramon is one of the dancers there. And he was following like the drag queen around, shaking his ass and being an absolute like crazy person. I filled it up with white stuff earlier today. Have a good time. Something like that. Dude, they're freaking hilarious, dude. And that's the best part of it. I could watch drag queens talk and like dog on people for an hour and a half. They were calling people bottoms. Dude, they called up this Asian dude that came up, right? And super big fan of the show. Dude, the Asian dude wanted to get like to get one of the dancers, one of the male dancers, like smack his ass or something. He was like bending over. The freaking hostess was like freaking saying like crazy Chinese, you know, like on the level that Dwayne The Rock Johnson did back in WWE. Like some crazy, like, dude, these shows are nuts. They're balls to the wall. And I had a great time. I would, if someone told me, yeah, we're going to a drag show, I'd be like, hell yeah, let's do it. The thing is, RuPaul wasn't there. So I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to see RuPaul. After that, we gambled again, and we gambled a lot. We went on to like 2 a.m. Sunday was not the greatest of days because out of nowhere, chat, I started to feel very sick. I thought it was just a regular cold. I thought it was like not too much because I just had like a headache. I had the sniffles. I was very fatigued, and I also had a very small sore throat. But I was drinking a shit ton of water. But I thought I'm not super used to the smell of cigarettes, and there were some casinos we went to where we gambled that were reeking of cigarettes, and that could give me a massive headache. We thought that might have been it, so I decided to rest most of the day. We were supposed to possibly go to another casino, another restaurant maybe, but I wasn't feeling great, so we decided to stay in the hotel. But I did have one specific event planned out for Sunday that I didn't want to miss, and that was this show. This is a show called Limitless. This is Shim Lim's show. Now, if you guys don't know who Shim Lim is one of the greatest magicians, card magicians out there. I look up to this person a lot. Ever since he won FISM, ever since he won America's Got Talent, he went on Penn and Teller and fooled him twice. All that stuff, I've been looking up to this guy hardcore. We had tickets to that show, so I try to rest up as much as possible, try to take in as many drugs as possible to try and feel better for this show. As you all know, I wanted to see the show because I used to do card magic. It's at that point where I know a lot about the sleights and the tricks and the different things that card magicians in particular do when they do these routines or these performances and stuff. So I wanted to see basically the Godfather, or who I consider to be the greatest of all time in terms of card magic. So we went to the show. I was really determined. I manned up and I went to the show. It was with Shin Lim, and I can't remember this guy's name. He was also on America's Got Talent. He didn't win, but he was very close. But he's a mentalist. And I'm telling you right now, mentalist, I don't mess with that stuff. Nor have I. That's like voodoo black magic shit, dude. Because that shit freaks me out. The fact that they know everything about you just reading you or something like, I don't know what they do, anything. I don't mess with that. But he was there. He was really cool. He calls himself like the Sherlock Holmes of magic. So he was really entertaining. I had a fantastic time. My mind was blown. And the reason why my mind was blown wasn't because of the actual tricks themselves. When you get to the level that I'm currently at, where you know a lot of the information that's being done, you mostly start to see value in not the actual trick itself, but how the trick is done. Yeah, there might be a reveal, or there might be a disappearance, or there might be something that happens, and I know what happens, but it's what happens afterwards that completely messes with a magician's brain. And the thing is, he knows that there's a lot of magicians watching, a lot of people that possibly might know what he's doing, but then he kind of like misdirects you by following it up with either something else that couldn't be possible with the setup he had before he did that, or sometimes he does things with his hands that might seem like he's doing something, but he's really not. His execution and his the way that he does, or he plans out the routine, right? Because that's what he does. It's like a big old routine. It's not just one trick. It's like many tricks into one routine. And that's what I love. So it's like a sight to behold. So you have somebody like Faith, who's sitting next to me, who doesn't really know the information that I know. Her mind was being blown with all the different magic that you can do with the cards, right? And my mind was being blown as to what the execution and the amount of finesse that he has when he does it, because there was hardly any flashing whatsoever. It's nuts. I was a kid again, and I had a blast watching this show. We did not gambu, unfortunately, after that, because I was not feeling well. So we went to the hotel, we packed up for the next day. We were going home. So Monday came around, we left the hotel, we went to the airport, and we did a little bit of gambu at the airport, because Vegas has airports that have slots. Yes. We got home, and it was an hour flight. It was probably one of the worst flights ever, because I was having some congestion in my nose. It got worse because it was congested. It was blocked. Well, when I went on the hotel, I'm sorry, in the airport and on the plane, and we went up, all that pressure, you know how your ears pop when you go up in elevation and stuff? That was in my nose. So I had this crazy painful pressure in my nose, and it hurt like a bitch. Of course, I had a mask on. We had masks and stuff. We tried to do as much as we can to be able. We had hand sanitizer, everything, washing our hands constantly. Immediately as I got home, I took a test for COVID, because we have those home tests, and I tested positive. I tested positive for COVID. Yeah, I was kind of bedridden for a week. You guys already know this, but I took a week off from about that Monday, mostly Tuesday. Tuesday got really bad. Tuesday was the worst day. Tuesday got really bad all the way until Saturday. Even after getting COVID, after all that, I had an incredible time. I had a great trip. I had a fantastic time spending time with Faith, treating her and taking her out to a whole bunch of places. We both had a freaking fantastic time. Probably my favorite Vegas trip of all time. Great food, great shows, great memories with Faith, and I got COVID for the first time in 2.5 years. After being cautious for 2.5 years, I finally got COVID. I'll never forget this Vegas trip for sure. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, please.